G-Day, people! This is Sharpino here, welcome you guys to the Pokémon Snakewood review. So, if you guys do not know, I completed about a week or two ago the Pokémon Snakewood Shotlocke, and let me tell you, that game was bananas. And by bananas, I mean it was absolutely crazy. But it was fun at the same time. It was a really good ROM hack for 3rd gen, and it was probably the best way I could enter 3rd gen by any means. So let's run over some information about this game. So first off, I'm already off to a good start. This game was made by the Cutlerin, so the actual guy they referenced throughout the entire game. Oh, sorry, before I go any further. There will be spoilers in this review, so if you have not played Snakewood, please do not watch this. Unless you want a fresh new experience of the game, do not watch this review. But if you guys either already played the game, or my opinion, or you're curious about the game and want to learn more about it, then you're more than welcome to. But there will be spoilers, so you've been warned. Okay, so this was made by the Cutlerin. It is a remake of Pokémon Ruby, as you guys can tell from the intro. It has obviously Pokémon Ruby there, and it was made in 2013, and it's been updated at the latest in 2014. So right off the bat, I will say this is definitely an interesting concept of the game. So if you guys don't know, Snakewood is all about basically you're thrown to the zombie apocalypse, and your mission throughout the entire game is to recollect your memories to see what you were before the destruction of your hometown was. So as you go along, you meet familiar characters like Professor Birch, and but some of the characters are a little bit different. The old man of Dooford, he's a zombie, and you realise some things a little bit different, such as the order of gym badges you get, the gyms themselves. Dooford is no longer a fire type gym; it's a dark type gym, and Fortree has a zombie as the gym leader. So I mean, it's crazy upon crazy. And you made some crazy entities in the group, like the Deadly Seven, the Four Horsemen, zombie battles and everything else, and you meet the Denjus, with the T-Fangers, I believe they're called. So there's a lot going for this game as far as different groups of characters and plot development throughout the entire game. So, first off, let's have a look at the positives of this game. So like I said, first off, the first positive I have to give is the storyline. Very well thought out, very well done, creative. Like I said, the zombie apocalypse angle was on point, always keeps you guessing, and the cross-references throughout the game obviously links different things from outside the game's perspective with the game. So, you have references to things like, death references, and you have, they talk about, Isao and all that. So, really, this game reaches out beyond the scope of the Pokemon world. It reaches out into different, animes and different, laws of different fiction. So, I mean, it's definitely a very interesting way to create a storyline, because mostly Pokemon tries to keep everything contained within its world. This game actually broadens that. It actually involves other universes and other, characters of different universes. Next up is the next part I'd like to say is it is challenging. So the battles are very challenging, and like I said, I do enjoy the concept of the Pokemon fake mons that they have in the game. A lot of them were very different, and they really stepped up. This game really stepped up to the plate when it comes to challenging, as far as I would say, like the amount of Pokemon you have to burst. The level spikes weren't too overdone. They were actually pretty on par. So I mean, when it came to training a Pokemon, unlike say Pokemon Suite, the levels were not too fluctuating from this point to this point. They relatively grew at a nice level, and it wasn't too. I mean, it was you could do it, but it wasn't too. You would have to know too much about the game if you were nuzzled in the game to proceed, like that kind of thing. So another positive I'd like to point out is the creativity. The fake mons and the evolutions and the typings are very intricate. So they have a lot of fake mons where they've done on top of the originals, like the 3 original Kanto starters. They've even done some evolutions, like Quillfish evolves into Quillshark, and the egg that becomes one of the legendaries, Entei, Suicune, Raikou, Unknown, or Celebi. That's definitely very interesting. And the typings. So a lot of the typings have been changed up as well. So I mean, things like Banette was ghost fighting, Hariyama was normal fighting, and you had the introduction of the disease type, which basically, as far as I know, has no weakness. I mean, I haven't seen a disease type move in the game, but the types are interesting. So my favorite fake mons throughout the game were Lucasmon and Shaduru. I thought their designs were very intricate. Their powers were, I mean, they are the legends apparently of this game. So I mean, it really lived up to the hype. My least favorite Pokemon that was redesigned or fake mon was Dirtcrow. Just because I like the original Dirtcrow better. I don't know if making it yellow and putting a little hat on it makes it a little bit better, but that's just my opinion. Another positive is the characters. So, you know, all the characters had different roles throughout the game. At the start, you learn you have a brother. First off, points for that, because throughout the game, you're always by yourself. You're always trying to find your dad who's never there. You know, you're always trying to, you know, beat the champion. This actually takes some of that away. They're saying, you know, your brother's a champion. So you already know that you're linked to the champion. So you already know you've got some sort of power behind you. Then you have, you know, common things like May and all that, and you find out you have to try and find them. You know, you had things like Senix, you know, who was the ultimate Dark Lord that was trying to, he's basically the reason why the zombie apocalypse was occurring. Then you have Meat and his followers, you know, the Dragon Angle, you know, Charizards, shiny Charizards, I guess you could say, with the brighter colour. But they did it really well. And then you had the Deadly Seven, who were just crazy upon crazy with their references and their comments and everything else, you know. So yeah, so the characters were all over the place, but there was nothing that was out of place. It all just fitted perfectly. The last positive point I would say is the gameplay. The gameplay is great, like I said. You know, there was no glitch. Actually, you know what? There is a few glitches, but I'll run over that a little bit more in detail in the negatives. But overall, the gameplay was terrific. There wasn't a point where, you know, it was what happened. You know, there was never a dull moment, is what I should say. There was always a desire for you to proceed forward. The gameplay always wanted you to keep going further and further and further in the game. And even when you completed beating the Elite Four, it wasn't even over then. So it kind of gives you that idea that, you know, the game's not over even after you beat the Elite Four. So I'd say definitely good job on that one there. So now we'll look at the positives. Let's look at the negatives of this game. So some of the negatives I found in this game is that some of the fake mons are not accessible. So I really don't like when you try to create a Pokemon specifically for the game, but you don't let it be accessible. So you can't use some of the Pokemon, and some of the Pokemon are the starters. You can't use that. You can't use II. There was a few others, but long story short, you shouldn't put fake mons in a game if you're not trying to kind of give, you know, that thing to the people. If you're trying to show people your projection, your idea of a fake mon, you know, you want to try to allow the players to use it. You don't just say, here, have a look, and then say you can't touch it. It's not a strip joint. It's not a museum. It's a game. People want to play with the characters. People want to play with the Pokemon. The next negative I want to point out is the game-ending glitches. Not fun, no one wants it, it's not even a question. Game-ending glitches are pretty bad. And as I experienced my Let's Play, there was one point towards the end of the game where I did have a game-ending glitch. Now apparently, from what I've read from reviews and everything else, there have been a few glitches, but they've actually redone the game, they've actually fixed it up. However, there are still some glitches that are still present that really, unless you input, say, a walk through the wall cheat or something like that, you know, you can't get out of it. And I mean, like I said, at the end there, using the teleporter after releasing the prisoners does release a game-ending glitch. So all I can say is, please, 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 fix the game. That's what I'm going to say. Like, look, it's a good game, it's a great game. I would definitely recommend it, but just fix up those little things, because that right there stops the game from being a 10 out of 10. Just those things there. Another negative I want to point out is the puzzles throughout the game. Now, look, I understand you're trying to make a game challenging, and I'll give you points for making the game challenging, but these puzzles, some of the puzzles throughout the game had no clues. So solving them really was a task and a half. You really had to look it up, you know, to solve it. For example, in the, you know, the Congrejo, SS Congrejo, you know, when you had to use just the Magnemite to use the elevator. Now, there's nothing throughout the ship that would suggest, it just says this needs to be powered up. It doesn't suggest you need a specific, you know, Pokemon. It doesn't suggest, because you might have electric types in your team at this point in the game, and you wouldn't know, because you might have like a Raikou, or a Magneton, or a Magnezone, which I apparently found out after you use a Thunderstone on it and actually get it. But you could have all those Pokemon and you wouldn't be able to get it unless you got a specific Magnemite for that particular puzzle. That pisses me off. And I'm sure it would frustrate a lot of Let's Plays as well. Like I've heard Nappy had a great rage about it, because it's like, there's nothing in the game that would give you a clue to that. And I mean, it follows along the lines that I actually had to solve out later on, you know, the next puzzle, which was the key, that, you know, there's Dittos. I'm thinking, well, Ditto can transform, is it really that way? And then, sure enough, that's what it was. But the game really needs to make it challenging, but not to the point where they say, here you go, here's the challenge, no clues. Like, they really expect you to think about it. So I would definitely say, maybe chuck a hint, say maybe a magnet that's around here could help it, maybe, because it doesn't make it fun when you're trying to rack your brain over something that's so relatively simple in concept, but there's no clues to, you know, allude to the concept. Next thing I want to talk about is the references all over the place. So, like I was saying earlier, now, this is a good, but it's also a bad thing. So, references all over the place from different universes, you know, like I said, the T-Fangers and the Danjus, you know, the Deadly Seven, you know, saying their random shenanigans, the Senex, and then you had all the different references throughout this entire game. It can be confusing to some Let's Players who don't have any ideas on what those references allude to. And I mean, like I said, throughout my Let's Plays, some people were actually giving me actual, like, they're saying this is from this point here, is from here. And I appreciate that, but it doesn't bode well for those who get confused by the fact, you know, it's like, you know, if they have no idea what you're talking about, it's just going to maybe confuse, maybe annoy the players, because it's like, you know, Pokemon, like I said, keeps everything within the relative circle. So everyone knows everything that's going on in the circle. When you bring things outside the circle into it, everyone's going to think, you know, what's going on, like, it's just going to confuse the players. I personally didn't feel it was too bad in some cases, but in some cases it was like, you know, what the hell? Like, I had no idea where they were going with it. Lastly, this is just a minor thing, not really a big thing, but some areas of the map were not able to be flown to. So this annoyed me quite a bit because it made accessing some areas very difficult. So areas like Fort Draco, even things like Snakewood City and, you know, Moorville City were not being able to be flown to. You actually had to walk all the way there. Very annoying, and especially when you have Pokemon Fly and you're trying to reach certain parts of the game, you know, like the Name Radar, or maybe to get that Chikorita that's inside the Island of Calm, or something like that. It's very annoying, especially when you have a Pokemon that's Fly and you think that once you've been to the place you can fly there. In this game, that's not the case. So, looking at this game overall, and I mean, like I said, it's a terrific game. I would definitely say it was a great game. So, creativity-wise, I give this game a 5 out of 5. Like I said, creativity, I couldn't fault it. The creativity was fantastic. Storyline, characters, story, development, everything was just on par. It was fantastic. The story, though, I know I just said the story was great, but I'm going to give the story a 3 out of 5. Just because 3 out of 5 for the story, like I said, it was all over the place as far as the story. I mean, throwing the gym badges off the wagon were a little bit weird because you got the 5th gym badge second, you got the 4th gym badge out of random luck. You know, if you didn't look in the shipwreck in that bin, you wouldn't be able to find it. So the story was a bit here and there, and very confusing when, you know, you say, you know, your brother's champion, you get there, and he's not there. And there's no explanation as to why he's not there. It's just like, what the hell? And then finally, the gameplay, I would go ahead and give it a 4 out of 5. Now, like I said, if they fix up those glitches, I would make that a 5. But those glitches are the only thing that's hindering me from giving it a perfect score for gameplay. Because any game that has glitches, you know, is going to piss off the players who play it. So overall, I'm going to give this game a 9 out of 10. So this game was great. Would have given it a perfect 10 if they fixed up some of those glitches, some of those negatives I referred to. But other than that, though, like I said, the biggest glitches, the biggest letdowns for this game were the glitches and the fact that the fake ones that they're making exclusive to this game were unattainable. Still a great game, though. I would like to see a sequel if possible. I would like to see a ORAS remake on that. That would be actually pretty epic if you could do that. And if you could make all the Pokemon accessible, you know, that'd be great. So that is my review of the Snakewood game here. Like I said, if you haven't played it, I definitely would say go ahead and give it a go, because it is a pretty fun game. It definitely opens your eyes to the fact that, you know, the ROM hackers are trying to be more creative with the ideas of expanding the Pokemon world to include other universes. So I think they did a great job, and you know, like I said, I would love to see a remake of this game either on ORAS, or, I mean, that'd be pretty difficult, but you know, it's something to look forward to if in the near future this game was to be remade. So thanks for watching this review, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like the button down below, because as always, your support is greatly appreciated. And I hope you guys are currently enjoying the projects on this channel over here. Leave a comment down below and tell me what you thought of the Snakewood. Tell me if you thought I was fair with the points, if I was unfair, and why I was unfair. You know, let me know your opinion. This is the whole point of a review. So until the next time I see you guys, stay safe, stay sharp, and I'll catch you guys all next time. Later. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, make sure you hit the like button down below to show your support. But if you guys enjoyed today's episode and you want a little bit more, I would definitely recommend you hit up the playlist that I've linked in the video right here. If you're watching this on the mobile device, that's fine. I'll link in the description down below for you so you can watch it either way. If you guys want to contact me, you can go ahead and leave a comment down below, or you can contact me on Twitter at Sharpino1990, also linked in the description down below. But if you guys want to show your true support of the Sharp Squad, I would definitely recommend you hit the subscribe button so I can hopefully provide you with more Pokemon entertainment. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you guys.
guys all next time.